Okay, now we've got all this reformatted so that we can helps us to see what's going on. You know, the other way, those URLs were kind of beyond human capacity to debug, at least my human capacity. I probably have a pea-sized brain, and I just like to keep things simple so that I can understand what's going on. So one of the first things this opens up to me, though, is I see that every time I do this, I have got the exact same thing, except here I've got groups, here I've got events. So I wonder what I can do to clean this up. So, because if it weren't for that, I could even see I'm doing Meetup request every time here. And so there's still a good deal of repetition going on. Well, what I notice is I've got my params, and then I've got like a base part to the URL. So I think what I'll do, I'll just grab one of these, and I'm going to pull it on down here. Put it into my Meetup request. So what I'm passing now is going to be a base URL and my params. I'm going to pass my params down. Okay. Now, I don't actually call Meetup request. This is becoming what my Meetup request is. I'm just simplifying how I call it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this, I'm going to replace it like so. Okay, so that's my base URL has become this, and that's my params that I'm going to pass. And you know me, I like to get rid of these double quotes and replace them with single quotes wherever I can. Okay, so it's getting just a little simpler. In fact, now I can grab this guy, pull him up here, because I don't even need a variable name anymore. I'll just make it look like that. So I know this is going to look the same. I'm going to copy that into place in both of these other locations. But I'll definitely need to take my base URL, replace it like so. Same here. Oh, that one looks good actually, because that was the same as the previous one. Okay, so that's a little cleaner. And this little syntactic thing here, I don't really want to have to remember these. Because what I'm thinking of, I'm thinking ahead to where, you know, if I do more of this, I don't always want to have to remember that little question mark guy. So what I'm going to do now, I can get rid of this and replace it with my base URL question params. You know, Ruby doesn't need these parentheses, so we'll also kind of clean that stuff up. And we'll leave these because, you know, there's a little bit more going on over here. Now the other thing I'm noticing is that each one of these has this same kind of prefix to it, and so it comes down to where it's just kind of a what is that? It's like basically it's like a controller action that we're accessing. So let's just turn this into a symbol. That will pass down. Remember, I've copied into my clipboard this main prefix part. You might not have, I didn't really say that, and you wouldn't know that if I didn't tell you. So now that becomes my base URL, and this is not really a base URL anymore. It's my action. Okay, so look how much cleaned up that is already. Now, the next thing we can do is notice, what is all this stuff? See, this is a controller. So, you've heard fat controller. It's like this controller is doing everything. More than what a controller is. What is a controller? A controller, you know, the router is how we tie a web URL to an action. The action is implemented by the controller. Well, the only action that's in this controller is this index action. Everything else, in fact, these methods here, Meetup members, Meetup pass total, and Meetup, they're all just methods that are used by this thing. So we've got kind of a big fat controller that's not really acting like a controller. It's acting kind of like a, what is this? See, this all boils down to a Meetup request. That's all this is doing, is sending 3 different Meetup requests to go grab some stuff from a REST API, making us a little REST API client of the Meetup API as it happens. So, how would we best refactor this? Well, we could go with making concerns. Now, a concern would be like, it'd be like a module. You know, if we created a module, here's what I'm going to do. Let's just stick it up here for a minute, because we're not going to do this, but I want to show you what we could do.